What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916, and you tune in to another edition of my vlog. I just want to say thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thanks for your support. You know, I'm all about that positivity and that motivation. Pick you up a shirt and merch labs, man. Yeah, I want to talk about, man, fitting in. And I know there's a lot of peer pressure out there, especially for you young people, to try to fit in and become a part of a group or a certain clique, and you know, sometimes things, man, it can be rough, man. You know, when you transition into different high schools or different cities, different neighborhoods, and trying to make new friends. You know, I always, you know, I grew up pretty much in decent neighborhoods. Spent the majority of my childhood on a military base from like 3rd grade to probably 7th grade, and stayed out of trouble. But you know, once I moved to a regular neighborhood, and you know, it was kind of like in the hood, it changed everything, man, because, you know, the people I was hanging around with was a different environment, and, you know, I was exposed to different elements, and man, it was a challenge, man. It was a serious life lesson, and I didn't have you know, any type of male role model or father figure giving me any guidance, so I really had to, you know, figure things out on my own, and it led to me getting caught up in a lot of bull, you know. And it's a rough period, man, from, you know, 13 to 16, you know, trying to become a man, you know, trying to you know, be a young adult, and you really still don't know anything, man. You don't really have all the tools you need to, you know, polish up and be, you know, be on your own. You're still kind of, you got one foot in the water and one foot on the land. So it's a rough transition, and it's just a different dynamic, man. And then for me, going from, you know, the hood, and, you know, I'd already at 15 been to juvenile hall and done time, and then I go to the OC bubble, man, Huntington Beach, and I'm out there, and you know, it's a bunch of little white surfer kids, you know what I'm saying? And these kids had never been in any trouble, and there's only maybe, you know, 4 black guys in the whole school, and it's, you know, almost 2,000 kids at the school, and I felt like such an outsider, an outcast. You know, I didn't know how to fit in, and it seems like I was almost like, you know, everybody was squares and I was, you know, a triangle, and I was frustrated, man. I was mad that my mom moved me out there. I was mad that, you know, the kids looked at me differently. I was mad because, you know, sports, it felt like I was ostracized, even though athletically I was better than a lot of the kids out there. And it was just a hard fit, man. You know, I was just watching that show, All American, on Netflix, and how he was dealing with trying to, you know, rep his community, but at the same time, you know, trying to play ball to make a better life for himself. And you know, he has a coach helping him, but I mean, I didn't have any coach helping me. You know, my mom didn't even really have anything to say. She wasn't helping me. My stepdad was white, so that was like, you know, that was rough. I'd never had, you know, anybody, you know, white that close to me as far as, you know, a parenting in that nature. But because of my age and my background, they weren't really parenting me. They were just kind of there, you know. Wasn't an asshole or nothing, but didn't really give me any direction either. So mom's was kind of like, you know, I'm riding the wave, man, until I'm 18, and it's pretty much, I look at like I got to get out the house. Wasn't nobody really giving me any tools, and so it was just a frustrating time, man. And I looking back, and, you know, 15, 16, 17, 18, I wish I would have had more guidance, more support. Somebody telling me the dynamics of what it was like for a black kid living in Huntington Beach, you know, and in the late 80s, you know, what to expect, how to understand the social dynamics of that environment. I had no clue, you know. Couldn't, you know, girls were different because it was just like, you know, I came from such a different background. You know, I was dark skinned, everybody else was white. You know, the other brothers there, they were all lighter than me. And of course, you know, I dressed a little different. I think I intimidated a lot of people. You know, even the coach made a comment, which you probably see my records, that I've been in juvenile hall, and so he treated me differently than the other black kid on the team. So, you know, it just kind of really played in my head, man, and I had a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, and I didn't really get to enjoy my last 2 years of high school. And high school should be a time where you enjoy yourself, you make friends, you guys do a lot of fun stuff, you go to homecoming, you go to prom. I didn't do any of that, man. You know, I didn't do any of that stuff, and I'm not, you know, sitting here feeling sorry for myself, but I'm just sharing that, you know, I know a lot of you guys have probably experienced the same thing. And if your parents have moved or gotten married, or you got a step parent and you're trying to adjust, I know it could be rough, you know, and that's why I say fitting in, man. You know, it don't matter how tough you are. I had already been shot at, got into major fights and stuff, and going to, like I say, from Sacramento, North Highlands to Huntington Beach, you know, Marina High School, man, it was rough, man. It was rough, and I just felt all alone. And as soon as I had the opportunity, because I didn't have any other options, I went back to the hood, got right back into the bullshit, squabbing, busting on fools, just doing stupid stuff, man. And man, you know, if I had to do all over again, I would have liked to have maybe use sports as a conduit to get to a college, or get me out of, you know, get me out of the state to where I could have maybe went to school in another state, you know, and got an education, or, you know, got involved in maybe a trade. I wish I would have had, you know, somebody kind of giving me some direction, man, because I was lost. You know, I was lost, man. And just because you have somebody that puts a roof over your head and puts clothes on you, it doesn't mean that they're parenting. That just means that they're making sure that you're secure. But parenting means conversation and knowing your child, what he's going through mentally, and sharing and being in on what the social you know, what the social climate is for your kid. You know, is he around a lot of drugs? Is everybody drinking and partying on the weekends? Is he you know, feeling like you know, the poor kid on campus, or is he feeling like, you know, there's something wrong with him? These are all things you need to talk to your child about, man, that you need to have these sit-down dinners with, which people don't have anymore. And even if you have the sit-down dinners, I mean, ask your kid these questions. You know, pop up at your kid's school and see, you know, what's going on. Just surprise visits. You don't have to let the kid know you're there, but just check it out, man, and see, because your child, man, high school is such an impactful time. You got people, why else do they have high school reunions? You know what I mean? 20-year reunion. People still talk about high school in their 50s and 60s. It's crazy, man. People still talk about high school, man. And they've been away for years, but high school, that's just how important it is. So, you know, it's so important that you know, figure out your child and how he does fit in, and if he is frustrated, how you can maybe alleviate some of that, or just trying to, like, you know, communicate with them so they feel that it's not all them. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with them. It's just a part of growing up, you know, life lessons. And you know, I wish I would have had more life lessons. You know, I was left to my own vices, and I made a lot of mistakes in the process. And you know, I kind of I've reflected on a lot of those when I had a lot of time to think, and now I try to put them into these vlogs so that I can give you guys a different perspective and hopefully help you so you don't make the same mistakes, man. You know, because fitting in is, man, you know, I always want to fit in. I always want to be, you know, part of the cool group. You know, feel like I had, you know, friends and stuff like that, you know, and every kid wants to, you know, that's why kids join gangs and stuff like that, because they feel they're part of something, you know, they get that hood tattooed on them, they feel like they're repping something, you know. But what if you can You know, rep your own self. You know, rep your own business or whatever the case may be, and find your way of not being a follower but being a leader, and defining your own reality. Sometimes you try to fit in so bad, and it's really not worth who you're trying to fit in with. The people you're trying to fit in with aren't all that. You look at them now, and they're you see them on Facebook, and they're blown out. Nothing going on. Most of them is just still talking about the old days. The hot cheerleader now, she's just sitting around, and she don't even want to she don't even put full body shots on social media because she's blown out. So it's funny, man, but it's reality. And a lot of these relationships we had put so much emphasis on in high school. As we grow older, we realize that a lot of those people, man, it was high school. It's old. It's not something that you're gonna use to define you for the rest of your life. So, fit in, but if you don't fit in, it's all right too. It's all right. Because as you become more mature, you realize that you don't need to necessarily fit in. You create your own circle. You create your own friends, and they'll fit in around you. And I didn't understand any of this in high school. Trying to create my own circle, and I did have some friends that I created in my own little, network. But I still had a lot of frustrations, man. But now, like I said, I can share this with you guys because I know a lot of young people are going through the same thing, fitting in and trying to figure out where they belong. And in all actuality, man, you're perfectly fine. You create your own reality, define your own rules, and as long as you're not hurting nobody, hey, man, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to try to become something for somebody else to accept you. You are who you are, and life could be what you want it to be. So parents, talk to your kids, man. Share this video. Fitting in, it's something that I always I look back at now and reflect about. But growing up, it was like whether you're trying to fit in with the with the hardcore guys, or the black guy trying to fit in with the the white guys, or the D boys or the gangsters, wherever you're trying to fit in with, man. And it's really bigger than that. And realize that you don't have to try to fit in. Find your own path, and don't be a follower. Be a leader, and define your own path, man. And that's something, like I said, I never was taught. And it was just very, it was going from the hood to somewhere that was just total opposite. And it just felt like, and everybody spoke English, but I felt like just, oh my God, this is crazy. These kids here are nothing like the kids I grew up around, which wasn't a bad thing. Nobody had records, nobody was selling dope, nobody was gangbanging, wasn't none of that, shooting dice or any of that stuff going on at school, or, worrying about getting jumped on the way home. It was just a bunch of kids being kids, man, which is what you should be doing in high school anyways. You shouldn't have to worry about carrying a gun to school, or getting jumped, or having to fight every day, or stuff like that. That's not what a kid should be. A kid shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be having to go home and cut up dope and selling dope to grown people, or smoking weed every day, man, and drinking. You shouldn't have to be involved in that kind of stuff as a child, man. But I was exposed to all that and some, and it took me on a whole another path. But I've come full circle. And like I say, I don't preach over here. I just share life experiences, because I know a lot of young people have the same questions, and hopefully I can provide some insight so that you guys can make better choices than I did, and not feel like you're all alone, because sometimes it can be a lonely place out there for a young person trying to find themselves. I know, I've been there. I always felt like I was an outcast, and to be honest with you, I felt like I was an outcast for my family. Never felt like I fit in. I felt like I was adopted. I had goals. Everybody else was just content. I always wanted to push the line. Everybody was telling me calm down. And I used to get tired of it, man. I used to get tired of people telling me, oh, you know, you're trying to go too hard, or calm down, or you shouldn't want this. And it's like, you know, trying to fit in. Until I created my own belief system and realized that I was the truth within myself, I didn't have to worry about fitting in, because I already fit in. Big Herc 916.